Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10 and support the channel at the same time. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. And it is another turbulent week for the market with a number of factors impacting it. Iconic Masters was revealed last weekend at HasCon. Ixalan, the full set, has now been revealed. There's buyouts continuing, especially on reserve list cards. Commander 2017 is still a very popular product with players looking for upgrades for those decks. You put all of that together, and it leads to a lot of volatility, and we're going to dig into that today. Now, quickly before we get started, just a fast reminder. If you're looking for a way to support the channel, it's always appreciated to keep us doing what we're doing. You'll find a few ways down below, one of which is our Amazon affiliate links. Any purchases there will get a small percentage back. You'll find our Patreon page linked below, and Flipside Gaming has their link below too, and they are offering a promo code with a discount for our viewers, which is awesome. They are doing pre-orders right now too for Iconic Masters as well as Ixalan. So with that being said, let's get into the cards for today. And we're going to start off, as we always do with Standard, in the top 5 cards that have lost value this week. Now, right off the bat, I will say about Standard out of all the other sections we're going to look at today is the most steady, due to the fact that there is going to be a pretty big change, of course, in the metagame in just a couple weeks. So a lot of people are just waiting to kind of see what happens right now. So you're going to notice there's not a lot of big changes here. But surprisingly, a lot of the cards losing value aren't necessarily cards rotating out. I think a lot of those have already lost a fair amount of value. So let's see what's going on. Coming in at number 5, Westphal Abbey. This is down 39 cents this week to $4.49. Of course, this is rotating out of the format. Number 4 is Hour of Devastation, down 45 cents to $3.81. This is a card that, of course, is not rotating out of the format, but it is a rare from Hour of Devastation. A lot of packs have been open, and even though it's seen standard play, it's going to continue to see standard play, definitely in some form. That the number of cards out there is just starting to outrun the demand at this point. So you're going to see this continue to tick down. Number 3, Hazoret the Fervent, down 65 cents to $14.07. So Hazoret's been steadily ticking down. Again, you have a print run issue here. The card's very popular. It's doing well in Standard. It's not going to go away, I don't think, in the new meta or anything like that. But again, there's a lot of these cards out there, so it's really hard for it to maintain a very high price point. I assume this will probably continue to tick down, barring any big results of the Pro Tour, which may give it a temporary spike. I think pretty soon you'll be able to find this card for around the $12, even $10 mark down the road. Number 2, Relentless Dead, down 102 to $7.83. And of course, this is due to its rotation out of the format. And number 1, Chandra Torture Defiance. She's down $1.12 this week to $35. And she's seeing a ton of play in Standard. She's going to continue to see a ton of play, but that price point of $35 is going to be really hard to maintain considering the number of copies of her that are out there. So again, expect her to tick down a little bit with maybe some ups and downs here and there, but eventually I see her going below the $30 mark into the mid-20s. All right, let's move on to the top 5 cards that have gained value this week. What you're going to see here is a little bit of brewing, maybe slash speculation based on what we're seeing from Ixalan. Number 5 is Gifted Aetherborn, and this is up 27 cents to $1.25. I think there's a little bit of cross appeal here with this card. I do think some players are trying to brew a vampire deck for Standard, but honestly, I don't think all the pieces are there for a deck that's going to be able to hang in the meta that's coming up. However, maybe in the future, with Rivals of Ixalan, vampires will get a little more of a push, at least I hope so. But also, this card is a good upgrade for the vampire deck that just came out for Commander 2017. Number 4, Walking Ballista, up 31 cents to $11.99. Here's a card that's already proved itself in Standard, as well as Modern, and actually sees Vintage play in Shops decks. So it's definitely already established itself, but I think some players are thinking about the possibility of using this in a Naya Dinosaur build in the upcoming Standard, considering it can help to turn on Enrage. Fetid Pools, up 35 cents to $3.82. Another card that's already seeing Standard play, but I do think Grixis could potentially be a strong color combination in the new meta between Grixis Pirates and maybe even Grixis Control decks. I think some players are already thinking about that when it comes to their mana bases. Number 2, Collective Brutality, up 36 cents to $12.34. Okay, I'm not going to harass y'all too much on Collective Brutality. I'm sure by now you all have your play sets because you've been listening to me. But I will say this, how about a card that's about to rotate out of Standard going up in value? Yep, that's Collective Brutality. And it hasn't really even been doing that much in Standard recently. It's all about Modern. This card has basically become a Modern staple. Number 1, Samut the Tested, up 43 cents to 370. So this one's interesting. This card never really got off the ground. In fact, expectations were pretty low from the time it premiered. It felt like a win more card. Didn't really make sense in the last meta because there were a lot of aggro decks with small creatures. There were decks like the Mono Black Zombies decks, obviously were off color. So it didn't fit in anywhere. But some players are speculating that this card could get a lot better once things change. And that is mostly due to the fact that it would fit into maybe a Naya dinosaur build. You would have dinosaurs being bigger creatures where that +1 effect could matter a little bit more than it has in the past. So we'll kind of wait and see if that pans out, but I think it's at least interesting to look at. All right, let's move on to Modern, and we're going to actually look at the top 10 Modern cards that have lost value this week instead of 5, because I do think there's a lot of information here in regards to what's going on with Iconic Masters. 9 out of the 10 cards you're going to see on the list today are being reprinted in Iconic Masters, as you can imagine. Now, one thing I do want to point out, though, and I speculated a little bit on this last week, we've never seen this before. We've never seen a Master set spoiled so far before the actual release. So it was hard to say exactly what was going to happen with these cards. What appears to be happening, though, is yes, they are ticking down in value, but they're not crashing. And as a matter of fact, some of these cards actually went up in value over the last 24 hours. So I think you have a weird dichotomy here where eventually, yes, they're going to go down more when you get closer to the actual release of the set. There's more of an idea of how many boxes stores are getting and all that stuff that happens when a new set's released. But at least right now, you still have players that need these cards to play in tournaments and such going forward. So they're taking advantage of the slight price cuts, but you're not seeing these cards necessarily bottom out either. So let's see what's on the list. Coming at number 10, Ether Vial from Modern Masters. This one's down 228 this week to 44.20. Number 9, Glimpse the Unthinkable, down 232 to 29.01. Very welcome reprint that's coming in Iconic Masters. Number 8, Vorinclex Voice of Hunger, down 244 this week to 25.70. Number 7, Ancestral Vision from Time Spiral, down 248 to 45.59. Number 6, the one card that you will not find reprinted in Iconic Masters. This is Engineered Explosives from 5th Dawn, down 260 this week to 51.57. This card actually spiked pretty hard at the beginning of the summer, late spring, and it never really snapped back too much, so I think this is just a little bit of normal stabilization. Coming in number 5, Mishra's Bauble, down 279 to 22.24. This is a good example of what's going on in the market. I mean, this is being reprinted as a uncommon in Iconic Masters, and it's gone down a little bit, but still technically over $20 at this point. But I do want to point this out. First off, this card will continue to tumble over the next couple months, and it's going to fall really far, so don't overpay. Secondly, the prices you see today on these cards, because they're in such a decline, you will be able to find better deals than what they're listed here for if you shop around a little bit, especially in the big marketplaces. Sellers are going to try to start undercutting each other if they haven't already, and you're going to find some deals. So shop around, don't overpay, and the price values that you're seeing, especially on this particular list, are probably a little higher than you can actually find in the market right now if you look. Number 4, Cryptic Command from Modern Masters, down 293 to 30.94. Number 3, Thoughtseize, down 338 to 44.68. This is the Lorwyn version, of course, and the copy that's being reprinted in Iconic Masters will be using this art. Number 2, from New Phyrexia, Elish Norn, Grand Cenobite, down 393 to 24.84. And finally, Horizon Canopy from Future Sight, down 523 to 81.75. And I will tell you, this is one of the cards that actually has gone up in the last 24 hours. So I do think there's a little bit of an element out there of players that still need these cards to play and build decks, and they're seeing the prices drop, so they're taking advantage of that, even though they know they're probably going to drop more as we get closer to the release, but they might not have a choice. They might want to pick these up. So I think you're going to see a little bit of that going on here and there over the next couple months. All right, let's move on to the cards that have gained value this week. So there's a lot of different reasons for the cards going up in value, one of which is actually modern play, but there's other elements at play here too. Number 5, Sage of Fables, up $1.46 to $3.25, and this is a great upgrade card, of course, for that Commander Wizard deck. Number 4, Karthus, Tyrant of Jund, up $1.65 to $30. Well, this was not reprinted in the Dragon Commander deck. This was not reprinted in Iconic Masters. We now know that. Maybe it shows up in Masters 25, maybe it doesn't. But this card is definitely feeling like it was missed, and a lot of players, especially if you want to upgrade that Dragon deck, are looking to pick it up. Number 3, Scapeshift, up 248 to 54.97. This is a card that's actually seeing modern play, and that's why it's going up in value. So right now, Titan Shift decks have had some good performances over the last week or two. They've been doing well in some small tournaments, so I think it's garnered a little more attention. Number 2, Maelstrom Nexus, up 744 to 25.18. Another upgrade card, this time again for the Dragon deck, especially if you want to use Ramos as a commander. It's one of the alternate commanders in that deck. Plays really well with this card. Coming in at number 1, Psionic Blast, up 834 to 1049. If you're wondering why, check out MTG Goldfish. Saffron Olive recently did a modern budget deck tech, which showed off a favorable wins deck running 4 copies of this particular card, and it has caught a lot of people's attention. This happens quite frequently with the decks that he posts. He does a lot of fun budget decks that really catch a lot of players' eyes. They want to put the decks together, even if it's just for fun. Now, these spikes are usually temporary due to the fact that if the deck doesn't go on to put up some like big wins in a tournament, then of course the prices will start to fall and the deck will fade away a little bit. However, that's not really the intention of most of these decks. They are meant to be budget builds to play for fun and be able to at least be semi-competitive, and it tends to lead to card spiking and then dropping back off. So I do think this one will go back down within the next week or two. All right, let's move on to the top 5 legacy cards that have lost to value this week. Coming in at number 5, the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale. It's down this week $19.43 to $1,395.07. Number 4, Volcanic Island from Unlimited, down $21.48 to $471.48. Just normal stabilization on these 2 cards. Number 3, Elephant Graveyard, down $34.28 to $164.99. Now, this was a buyout about 3-4 weeks ago. It's been steadily declining as more cards get reintroduced into the market. Number 2, Jizam Jin, down $36.97 to $541.75. Again, normal stabilization for this card. And number 1, Ali from Cairo, is down this week, $43.11 to $146.89. This card has spiked pretty high. I don't think it was necessarily a buyout, but at one point it dipped to about $50 about 2-3 months ago. I think people noticed that and jumped on this card, and it really spiked pretty hard. So I think this is just kind of normal snapback. All right, let's move on to the top 5 legacy cards that have gained value this week. And again, you're going to see some buyouts here. Coming in number 5, City in a Bottle, up $38.34 to $183.99. And this is an Arabian Nights card that has been the target of a buyout. It's still going up a little bit this week, and I expect somewhat of a snapback probably within the next couple weeks. Number 4, The Abyss, up $46.54 to $426. Now, I do think maybe this was the target of a buyout about a week ago. It's still going up, though, and it is a highly sought-after card in some formats like 93-94, so it's actually playable, and because of that, I think it could maintain a lot of its value even if there was a buyout. Number 3, City of Brass, up $61.23 to $275. Of course, this is the Arabian Nights version of it. And Arabian Nights cards, even when they're not on the reserve list, are super hot. Like, this is a perfect example of that. We're going to see another example in just a few seconds where this card's been reprinted. You can find cheap copies of City of Brass if you need it for one of your decks or something like that. But for the most part, people are gravitating to these old Arabian Nights cards because they're ultra rare at this point. Number 2, Eureka from Legends, up $128.88 this week to $335.48. Of course, this is another buyout target. Someone zeroed in on this one. It's spiking due to the buyout, and it will go back down a little bit. It won't go back down to where it was. That's the nature of these buyouts. But it will definitely go down a little bit as these copies are resold into the market over the next few weeks. And coming in at number 1, Surrender Be Freed, up $268.28 to $489.98. Again, another Arabian Nights card that is not on the reserve list. It has been reprinted. You can find cheaper copies, but obviously the target of a buyout this week. Okay, let's move on to some notable cards. We have a variety of things here, so let's jump in. First, we have Yumishi Who Bars the Way, up 90 cents to $4.99. I just want to point this one out. This card has been hot, still going up a little bit, although it's slowed down now. But some of these cards that interact with legendary permanents, they're still on the radar, but they are starting to cool off a little bit. We'll have to see if that changes when Ixalan actually releases. Next, we have Sliver Legion. This is up $1.36 this week to $42.99. Now, in Ixalan, there's a card coming out, Arcane Adaptation, that I think a lot of people are thinking about maybe coupling with some slivers for strategies and Commander. So this has a little attention on it right now. Necropolis Regent, up $1.38 to $4.09. Good Vampire upgrade for that Vampire Commander deck. Dragon Arch, another good commander upgrade card, up $1.57 this week to $6.12. Great for the dragon deck, but really works in a lot of decks that are trying to run multicolor creatures. Next is Rainbow Val. This is up $3.68 this week to $8.25. It's from Fallen Empire. Now, it is a reserveless card, but Fallen Empire had a huge print run, a notoriously large print run for that time period. So I do find this a little bit odd, but it's a really cool group hug card that a lot of players like for Commander. Preemptive Strike of $4.18 to $6.50. A counterspell for creatures, which is actually a sorcery. Yep, we must be talking about a portal card. So this is the opposite end of the spectrum compared to, say, Fallen Empire. Portal Three Kingdoms. This is a set that had a very low print run, especially for English language cards. Next we have Boris Devilboon, up $13.68 to $23. This is just one of the latest gold cards from Legends that's starting to get hot. These are all catching on, whether they're on the reserve list or not. This one happens to be on the reserve list. I do think this will continue to tick up even more than we're seeing. It felt like a pretty undervalued card, actually. Power Artifact, this one creeps up a little more this week, up $20.45 to $151.12. Spinal Villain, another potential buyout coming out of Legends, up $20.59 to $45. Pyramids from Arabian Nights, this was bought out recently. It was super undervalued at the time, but it's still creeping up another $20.97 this week to $217.97. Aiden Oakenshield, up $25.69 to $75. Yet again, another gold card that was probably undervalued in Legends, starting to creep back up. And again, these do feel like buyouts, things like this, even though the card isn't quite as high value as maybe some of the Arabian Nights cards and such. This still looks like it's probably a buyout driving this price. Antanos' Coffin, up $30.88 this week to $104.45. Again, this started to go up last week, looked like a buyout. It's continuing to go up, though. It hasn't been sold back to the market yet. All right, with that being said, that's the market watch for this week. So there's a lot happening. I'm actually looking forward to see what's going to happen with Standard over the next few weeks. Standard will start to heat up a little bit. And I do think it's going to take the attention off some of the other stuff that's going on as players start to focus more on Standard. So some of these other areas may start to calm down a little bit. Maybe Commander even might start to stabilize a little in the next few weeks as we start moving into the release of Ixalan. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how that goes. But I'm looking forward to seeing the changes that occur this fall and this winter. So anyway, with that being said, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible by the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.